I grew up in what was probably the most normal of households. My parents worked a lot but still managed to care for me and my three older sisters. We were never super close as a family but never had any issues either. The same goes for my extended family. They lived a few hours away, and we saw each other during summer holidays or Christmas and always got along great. But as we got older, we naturally grew apart as everyone had their own lives. Now, I'm 31. Back in 2014, when I was 22 and attending university, I received a phone call from my mom that turned my life upside down. I was gaming with friends and didn't answer at first, but she called again immediately, a sign it was important. When I finally answered, I heard chaos in the background with people arguing. My mom, realizing it was me, went to another room and closed the door. She was crying and asked if I had something to confess about involving my cousin, E, who was 15 at the time. E is 7 years younger than me, and I hadn't seen her for years. My mom accused me of SA, claiming E had told my sister, who then informed her and my aunt. E alleged that I had inappropriately touched her when she was 9, and I was 16. My mom demanded answers, but I was speechless. It was absurd. I vehemently denied the accusations, but my mom said E described everything in detail. She and my dad concluded by saying they wanted nothing to do with me and never to contact them again. My sisters texted later, calling me disgusting before blocking my number. For the next 9 years, I was a wreck. I lived in constant fear of being arrested, failed to land any jobs, and drank heavily. My neighbor once called the cops on me after I smashed a glass, but I convinced them it was an accident. My nights were filled with dark thoughts about harming E. It wasn't until late 2015 that things started to improve when I landed my first real job. Recovery was slow, but I drank less and smiled more. I saved my money, bought myself nice gifts for my birthdays, and last year, I bought a small house with a garage and garden. Then, a few days ago, my mother texted me for the first time in almost 10 years. It felt unreal, and I hesitated to open it. The message was about missing me, wanting to know how I was, and mentioning how my nieces and nephews were growing up. In a second text, my mom explained that during a recent family gathering, E admitted that nothing had happened and that she might have dreamt it. They were all appalled by this revelation and informed everyone of the truth. They wanted to reconcile and asked for my forgiveness. Now, I'm torn. I don't want to forgive them, and I wouldn't trust myself to be in the same room as them right now. Part of me wants to guilt them with everything I've been through, while another part wants to ignore them and continue my life with my motorcycle and garden. My therapist is unavailable on vacation, so I'm turning to internet strangers for advice. Do I ignore them and continue as is, or do I answer? If so, what should I write? Part 2. It has been around 3 months since I last posted, and a lot has happened for both better and worse. A week after the messages from my family, E reached out with a huge apology text, citing her mental problems as an excuse. I responded angrily, stating how her actions destroyed my life during my formative years and ended the text with a final wish for her to rot in hell. On the other hand, I also responded to my parents, which led to a lengthy, productive phone conversation. They apologized profusely, admitted their faults, and explained that E had made her story so believable that they felt they had no choice but to cut ties with me. They regretted not supporting me and acknowledged the immense pain they caused. We concluded that we would stay in contact, but I decided not to visit immediately. Final part. It has been another 4 to 5 months, and I have more good news this time. Despite suggestions to take legal action against E, I decided against it due to the financial burden and the desire to move on from this decade-long ordeal. I am now in contact with my parents, and I even visited them a week ago. They have cut ties with E, who is now facing social isolation. The reunion with my parents went better than expected. It was difficult revisiting the pain they caused, but ultimately, it was a step toward healing. They even suggested I come home for Christmas, though I plan to take things slow. The feeling of hatred is dissipating, and I feel like a better person. I've started dating and met a great girl with whom things are getting serious. For the first time in ages, I feel hopeful. To anyone reading this, remember that things can get better, even after a long period of hardship.